I'm very concerned with early start today. We are not doing the things that we need to do to make sure that children are ready to learn. We just plop them in school, put them on a worksheet, teach them letters, and we don't look at their bodies. We don't look at their eyes. We don't look at their balance. Today, I'm going to show you the screening that I have devised to locate problems that will come back to haunt that child later on. And why am I doing this? Well, there were two children, one whose letter really tore at my heart. This little girl had cerebral palsy, and when she straddled into my house, barely able to walk, I gave her this test. I set her up on a home program. From not being able to hardly walk, today she is riding a two-wheel bike, and you would never know there is anything wrong with her. But it took 2 years of her grandmother doing the exercises every day for her to gain this much ground. What happens? These children go to OT 1 or 2 times a week, but if a parent will go in and observe that OT class, see what they do, and then do the exact same thing at home every single day, you're going to see so much more progress. And here is the other one that I just received. And this grandmother, again, it's a grandmother, is working with her autistic son. He was nonverbal 2 months ago, but I sent her everything she needed to do, from crawling to music to singing to doing all kinds of motor activities. And today she wrote me this note and said, last night his mother walked into his bedroom and Isaac was praying. He said, God bless Grandma, God bless my games, and God bless Isaac. Quite an accomplishment when he was completely nonverbal just 2 months ago. So I am so anxious to get this into parents' hands. I don't believe the school system's going to do a lot to change their approach. So I think parents, it's up to you. You must be your child's advocate, and you must work on these skills. So Michael, my dear Michael, is going to go through this test with me today, and I'm going to show you the things that really need to be looked at. The first one is proprioception. Proprioception is the ability to know where your body parts are and what they're doing at all times. It is body awareness. Believe it or not, some children do not have good proprioception, so they live in this world of fog where they don't know where their body parts are and what they're doing. So now I'm going to show you the way I would test to see if Michael has good proprioception. Michael, touch my finger as I go. Ready? Touch. Michael has good proprioception. The next test, he's going to close his eyes. Okay, are you ready? I want you to take your arms out to the side and bring them in so only your pointer fingers touch. Pointer fingers touch. And there again. But we have worked on this. Michael didn't always have good proprioception, but he's got it now. Michael, I want you to close your eyes, bring your hands out, and touch your nose with both pointer fingers. And again, but you will find children, when I tested children, especially children who have been abused and neglected, when they go like this, they will go, and they can't possibly have a good life without knowing where their body parts are. So parents, if your child cannot do this, go on the internet and write in the word proprioception. It will give you lots of activities to do. This is the most fundamental of all skills. Now we're going to look at Michael's balance. Balance is the precursor of all memory. When you get old and lose your balance, you lose your memory. They are inextricably linked. You cannot separate balance from memory. So if you don't want your child to fail every spelling test the rest of his school life, you need to work on balance now. So we're going to look at Michael. Can you stand on one foot to the count of 10? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now the other foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Michael wasn't always like that. When he came to me a year ago, he couldn't even begin to stand on one foot. Now I would like you to walk heel toe right along that carpet. This is another way to test to see, can they keep their balance, heel, toe. And now you're going to try, this is tough, go backwards. Heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Michael's improved greatly on his balance. Now we're going to look at directionality. It's a terrible thing not to know right from left. I have a friend, she's a college professor with a doctorate degree, and every time I tell her to turn left, she goes and makes an L so she knows where left is. Well, we need to work on this skill. It is so simple, parents. All you need to do is put a red star on the right hand every morning. Just put a little circle and remind that child all through the day, red right, red right, red right. And that way you are orienting him to the right. Don't even mention left. Just get him to know right and he will automatically know where left is. Okay, Michael, now I want you to take your right hand and put it on your left shoulder. And I want you to take your left hand, put on your right shoulder. This is crossing midline. Crossing midline is critical to a child's development. When you look at this drawing of the brain, there are two hemispheres. A right hemisphere, which is the Gestalt hemisphere, and a left hemisphere, which is the logical side of the brain. But between these two, there is a corpus callosum. We must develop the corpus callosum in order for a child to be full-brained. We want him to cross that corpus callosum. So first we have to build it. How do we build it? The very first step is crawling. Crawling is absolutely, absolutely mandatory for a child to develop his brain properly. And I'm not talking about dragging himself on a foot. It has to be right hand, left foot, left hand, right foot. It has to be bilateral. That is going to build your corpus callosum. I call it the superhighway. About 60% of us are full-brained. We go back and forth between those hemispheres without any trouble. About 20% of us are left-brained. We are the architects and the generals and the mathematicians who use that left side. And about 20% of us are right-brained. Right-brained people tend to fill jobs like artists, dancers, singers, cruise directors. I used to tell my college kids, if you want to have a class project with another student, you pick a left-brained student and they'll get the job done. But if you want to go out on Friday night and have fun, you pick a right-brained student and they'll have fun with you. So the two hemispheres, and it has to be crawling. Parents don't let their children crawl enough today, and they don't have them crawl bilaterally. Right hand, left foot, left hand, right foot. Critical to brain development. It has to be done. You will see in Kentucky, I did many workshops, and I finally got the nursery schools to do away with playpens. Playpens were the worst thing ever created. When I was a child, I crawled at my mother's feet all the time, as we all did. And we built that corpus callosum. Children today are not having that opportunity. It is an absolute necessity. Crawl, crawl, crawl. Okay, Michael. Next, I want you to make sure that you test their dominant hand and their dominant eye and their dominant foot and their dominant ear. We're going to start with the dominant hand. Michael, I want you to fold your hands right in the middle of your stomach, and I want you to pick up that pencil with one hand, please, and give it to me. Good. Fold your hands again. I want you to pick up that pencil again with one hand. And now the last time, pick it up with one hand. Now if you noticed, he is not consistent. He went right, left, right. Now that adds to confusion as he transcends his hemispheres. You really want your children to be all one-sided. I did a paper at Oxford many years ago. I presented my research, and I found that 100% of the top first graders were all right-handed, right-eyed. And 100% of the bottom first graders were all right-handed, left-eyed, or left-handed, right-eyed. It's a thing that nobody talks about, but it is a huge, huge factor in a child's success. You want your child to be one-sided, either right-handed, right-eyed, or left-handed, left-eyed. Now we're going to test Michael's eye. Michael, pull up your chair. And I want you to pick this up with one, put your hands, always start in the middle, always in the middle. Pick that up and bring it to one eye. So all you can see is that picture. Okay, good, put it back. Now I want you to pick it up and bring it to one eye so all you can see is that picture. Good. Very good, put it back. And now this time I want you to bring it to one eye so all you can see is that fan. So again, right, right, left. So Michael may have difficulty transcending hemispheres. I will tell you, left-eyed kids do terribly in school because, think about it, when you're left-eyed, you pull to the right. Now 7 starts left of center, but if you're left-eyed, 7 starts right of center and you will reverse that 7. B goes like this, but if you are left-eyed, you're going to pull to the right and reverse that B. When you see the word saw, I see the word saw, but a child with a left-eyedness will see was. It is critical that teachers look at the dominance profile. The next thing I'm going to test on dominance is the ear. Michael, will you pick that up and put it to one ear? And say, hi, Mom. Put it back and put it to one ear and say, hi, Elaine. And now the last time, say, hi, Ashley. Now you see again the switching back and forth. Now here's what's important about this ear. A lot of kids are strongly auditory, but if you don't know which ear is dominant and you place that child with his dominant eye against the wall, he will not do nearly as well as if you place that child with his dominant ear toward the teaching position. Where are you? That child should have that ear toward the teacher. Sounds crazy, but I have proved it in my own classroom when I would put those kids always, those left-eared kids, with that left ear directly to the instruction. It is just something that nobody talks about. Your SLD experts will say it doesn't exist, but for 42 years, I watched my left-eye kids say 2 10s and 7 1s, that's 27, and go right over and mark 72. It is a factor in school success. Dominance profile. Okay, and next, Michael, we're going to talk about your tactile localization. This is tough. Put your hand out. Thank you. I'm going to touch. These are distal joints. You have 3 distal joints on each finger. I am going to touch one of his distal joints, and he's going to sit up. And he's going to put that hand behind his back. Good. Now I want you to find that on that hand. Ready? Bring it forward. Where was it? Very good. That's it. Okay, do it again. Very few children can do this, but it's so key to their growth and success. Now, are you watching? Find it over there. Good. Tactile localization. Again, it's a brain thing. Now, I want to stop right here and say the brain loves three things. The brain loves music. Music transcends both hemispheres. That is why poor old Tony Bennett, even with Alzheimer's, could sing every word to a song. And that's why I remember every childhood song I ever learned. Music is the key. Movement, when you go into a classroom and the kids are all sitting there like this, if you could take a brainwave test, their brainwaves are just like this. But if those kids are up and singing a tune that means something, those brainwaves are going. So music and movement. And the last one is water. 83% of the brain is water. Our children, I have watched them for 40 years, go out to recess, they come in, and they get a sip. Next. That's not enough hydration. Every student in America should have a water bottle on his desk. The brain is 83% water, and it needs to be fully hydrated for proper brain function. And the last thing I'm going to ask Michael to do, I'm going to ask him to make an X. Now you will find children, he did it very well. He made that X correctly. But you will find children that will make an X like this. Why is that? They can't cross midline. Crossing midline is critical to everything a child does. When does crossing midline start? Crawling. Crawling with that right hand, left foot, left hand, right foot. That is the key to proper. And it has to be developed. Crossing midline. In my class, my kids, we always cross midline. Every dance we did, every song we did things like this. We're always crossing midline. If you watch my videos, you will see where almost all my activities were music and crossing midline. Again, I would say, parents, you need to be your child's advocate. You need to do the things from 0 to 3. When 90% of that brain is developed, do not let that baby lie for long periods of time without singing, caressing, cooing, and rubbing that child for early stimulation. When in the Bosnian War, they took orphans from that war and they did brain scans on those orphans who had lain in orphanages for years. And what they found, there was absolutely no brain matter or very little because of the lack of early stimulation. So you must play, you must sing, you must caress that baby. It is vital. 90% of the brain is developed by age 3. So don't think that you're going to be able to play catch up. It's already developed by that age. Now I'm going to talk about some tips for raising a good student. What did I find in my 42 years that separated my dear children from those who were so easily educated and did so well? These are some of the things you must consider at an early age. Number 1, limit screen time. No, I say no screen time before the age of 2. None. The American Pediatric Association has said that. No screen time before the age of 2. And only 2 hours between the ages of 3 to 5. We are letting our children destroy their visual processes. Most visual processing doesn't develop till 7. So you're asking a year-old child to do something for which his eyes are not prepared. Number 2, I will say again, make sure your toddler crawls, and it has to be bilateral. Left foot, right hand, foot, left hand. And even after they start to walk, put on some music and have them crawl. 73% of the brain is water and it has to be hydrated. Send a water bottle to school every day to have your child proper hydration. By age 5, check your child's balance. Can he stand on one foot to the count of 10? And if not, you can go on the internet and you can find dozens of ways to improve balance. I have told parents in the past to build an obstacle course. I had one mother whose child was very ESE. At 7, she thought that she would never graduate from school. She built an extensive obstacle course in that child's bedroom, and every day they went through those activities, and that girl is now a graduate of USF. I'm telling you, work and advocate with your child. Restrict food dyes. I have a friend whose grandson had to be literally dragged into school because he would not go to school. He hated school. He would scream and yell. I contacted his parents and I gave him lots of activities to do, but I said the number one thing is you must take food dyes out of his diet. Red and orange and purple and blue, they're just terrible for children with any kind of learning problem and for children in general. The sad part is American food manufacturers put it in absolutely almost every food you can buy. So eliminate food dyes and sugary snacks. By age 5, ask your child to raise his right hand. If he cannot, very simple, put a red dot on there every morning and red right, red right, red right. And lastly, if your child struggles to read, these are the symptoms of a child whose vision is not right. They wiggle in their chair as soon as they start to read. They'll yawn, sneeze, rub their eyes, or their eyes water. Those are all signs of a visual problem, and you must get them to a pediatric ophthalmologist. It is too late after the age of 10. Those eye problems will be set forever. So it's important that you get your little ones into an eye doctor. Here's what you need to get checked. Convergence, dominant eye, tracking, and the ability to remember, visual memory. Never to, especially when they start school, you must get their eyes checked to make sure that they are seeing properly. If you can't see, you can't read.
Good.
And I would like to thank you for paying attention to this. These are critical areas. The schools aren't going to do it, folks. I have had 400 teachers in an auditorium giving my workshop and asked them about these things. They don't have a clue. So good luck, pursue it, do the best, be your child's advocate.